Zimbabweans in the diaspora have reacted with dismay at the reports that foreign nationals are barred from a clinic in Limpopo. They say this has left many without life-saving medicine. Those affected apparently include even people on ARV medication. Joining us now to talk about this is Charles Muchineripi Mutama. He's the president of the Patriotic Zimbabweans Party. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So can you just be specific about, is it just one clinic, which clinic is it, and what reports are you receiving?
Thank you, Tapiso, for hosting me on your show today, and thank you, SABC, for hosting me once again. The incidents of Zimbabwean immigrants being barred from clinics or accessing public health services ranging from last year's incident where we saw Dr. Poppy Ramatua engaging that patient in Limpopo. And then recently, we have seen some incidents of Zimbabwean immigrants being barred or being kicked out of clinics in Johannesburg, Pretoria, and so on. So we don't have a definite or exact number of these incidents, but the social media is awash with videos of Zimbabweans who are being kicked out of clinics and hospitals.
But what are the reports that they're barred from entering, and how are they being identified in order to be discriminated?
That's a very interesting question that you have posed there. That's how do you identify that a person is a Zimbabwean in particular, or to be exact? I assume they are using language, or they are using physical features where, you know, it has been, research has been done or conducted, which shows that foreigners in particular, or in general, have been identified using their complexion and their language. So if you are engaged in a conversation and you respond in Shona and other languages, Swahili and so on, then you are identified as a foreigner. And then, of course, your physical appearance.
So just tell me, are these Zimbabweans residing in South Africa, or are they Zimbabweans who are crossing over into South Africa for a visit? Are they? I'm just trying to understand the circumstances under which these incidents occur.
Oh, thank you very much. It is not clear from the reports that we get that are these Zimbabweans resident in South Africa, or are they coming on a temporary basis to access public health services? So it is very difficult when immigration authorities or South African government officials are not involved to ascertain whether these so-called Zimbabwean immigrants who are in the country illegally are indeed Zimbabweans who are in South Africa on a temporary basis, or they are there as permanent residents, or they've been living in South Africa for a long time.
So have you engaged any government officials, particularly in Limpopo, about this issue?
So what we have been doing so far is an advocacy campaign that is aimed at highlighting these issues to government officials, not only in South Africa, but in Zimbabwe, so that we begin to interrogate these issues and to get to the root of the problem and why it is happening. And from our point of view, we believe this incident of what we can call mistrust and fear of Zimbabwean immigrants in particular, and foreigners in general, is a result of the ever-demanding need for the scarce resources in South Africa, such as public health services. And of course, the challenges that South African citizens are going through in their country, which has put a strain on their lives or their material lives. And as such, they feel Zimbabweans or any immigrants who are coming into the country are now challenging to enjoy the scarce resources that exist. And we feel those are issues that need to be dealt with at a government level by the ANC government, the opposition political parties in South Africa, so that the unresolved issues of post-apartheid South Africa around the issue of poverty and economic marginalization is addressed to best ensure that South Africans begin to enjoy the economic pie, as it were, and not consider Zimbabweans or any other immigrant who is coming into the country as an enemy or as someone who's coming in to challenge for the scarce resources that exist.
So what would you suggest in the meantime, while that discussion, I'm sure, has been ongoing, takes place, that Zimbabweans should do, those who say they are being discriminated against? And as you say, you have empathy with South Africans who feel that scarce resources are, that they're competing for them with Zimbabwean nationals.
Yes, what I appeal for is that the South African government, the South African parliament, and indeed South African opposition political parties begin to look at the bottom of the problem in South Africa in as far as structural issues are concerned around the economy, around the issue of unemployment, and of course, general welfare of their citizens. What we are realizing here is such that South Africa has become a political Golgotha of Black consciousness and African nationalism. As Patriotic Zimbabweans Party, we are going to engage our counterparts in Zimbabwe, particularly the ruling ZANU-PF, the opposition political parties in parliament, so that they can reach out to their counterparts in South Africa and have a multi-stakeholder approach in dealing with this issue, which is urgent and also has a veneer of Afrophobia, which we believe is as a result of the internalization of oppression during apartheid, the problem of apartheid miseducation of our brothers and sisters in South Africa, who at this time appear not to be enjoying the opportunities because of the predicament of the apartheid education system. So there are so many issues that need to be interrogated, related even to the issue of land that has been touted a lot of times by the economic freedom fighters. I have heard the leader of the EFF, Mr. Julius Malema, addressing the issue of structural issues in South Africa and making sure that the majority population in South Africa, the African population in South Africa, the Black people in South Africa begin to enjoy the mineral rights, the land rights in South Africa, and as well be able to be creators of employment, to be active partakers in the economy in South Africa. This makes Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the late, achieve the level of sainthood in as far as his agrarian ministry is concerned. That is what we see as one of the solutions where South Africa needs to go towards.